Ready. Play.
The other match in this group, and I think it's interesting, is going to be a replay of the first match, that is. It's going to be a replay of the Paris Masters final. I always feel tempted to call it Paris-Bercy, even though it's no longer in that part of Paris anymore. But it's going to be Sinner against Felix. What are your thoughts either on that final, but also looking ahead to this match?
Felix played very well against Jannik at the U.S. Open, took him to 4. I didn't think that was a top of the line, Jannik, by the way. That was part of the story, but Felix was inspired and delighted to be back in the semifinals of the U.S. Open for the second time, and he acquitted himself well. And then in the recent final in Paris, that was one break, his first service game of the match. Felix gets broken, never again. One little point, one mini break point in the tiebreak, 1 point lost on serve. It was that narrow. On the other hand, he had no play at all, no clue at all what to do on Jannik's serve. Jannik was holding so easily. There was one moment late in the second at 4-5 deuce. Jannik had gotten a bit tight to let him back into that game from 40-15, so he was 2 points from losing the set. But he quickly erased that problem. And otherwise, you're holding at love and 15 every time out. So I don't know if that's going to be too different. The way Sinner's been serving, I think it'll come down again to Felix needing to match him, needing to serve exceedingly well himself to stay in those sets. And he might well do that. He might well get into another time. I think when they meet, it could be a very similar scenario to what we saw the last time around. A 4-6 type match.
Yep.
But Sinner the winner.
That's my feeling as well. But again, and this is not me accepting second best on behalf of some of these players, but again, I think Felix getting back, in this tournament for the first time since 2022, when he was also having a sensational indoor season. I think there's some, because often we see players, even younger ones or ones in their mid-20s, that Felix is now 25. When that dip begins, sometimes that slide is never arrested.
That's true. That's true. That's looking at it quite realistically and but absolutely correct.
And that performance in the semifinals, if it maybe even more so than Paris, the semifinals in US, I think it caught a few of us by surprise. Beating de Minaur maybe for some was a little surprise, but then also the performance he put in with Jannik when that could have gone 5. And yes, we then saw Jannik in the final, maybe not performing as well as we read. Then we realized maybe Yannick's level wasn't quite good enough to win the US Open, as it turns out. But I think there's a lot of positives for Felix right now. Even if he loses to Jannik, and coming back to the maths and all the rest of it and how this group can work and this tournament works, if he loses in 3 sets to Jannik, that might be a good result.
It would be a good result. So I'm very intrigued.
Set matters, right? So
yeah, and it does. And I think, yeah, exactly. That could be what gets him into the semis. But I think Felix will be inspired, and he's had a very good fall, and he belongs in that field. And I just hope now, John, that we're going to see this man buckle down across the board, week in, week out, month in, month out, across next year, and really give it the ultimate commitment. I don't think we've seen that. I think there are times when he's wandered a bit. I'm not saying he doesn't try. I'm not saying he's not professional, but there are periods where he's played a bit listlessly and had results that leave you scratching your head. And I hope that's going to stop, because he's too good for that. And he's been around too long. And this is a step in the right direction. And I'm very much looking forward to watching him play this week.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.